strong.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to another Master Gaming video. Today we're going to be covering a build that was recommended by one of my viewers. They commented and I said, you know what, yeah, I'll do this build, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised with myself about what I've been able to create here. As you can tell by the title and the stats that I laid out, yes, you can hit very high DPS with this, yes, you can have very high resistances, and yes, you can be tanky. Now let's go straight into it. As you can see, we've got the title Counsellor. Does absolutely nothing. I just like being called Counsellor. It's kind of a nice name, not going to lie. So first off, we've got the attributes. We've got 21 points into Magicka, 22 points into Health, and 21 points into Stamina. This build is an all-round build for tankiness and DPS output in PvP, so we kind of want to have a good balance of all the stats. As you can see by my stat sheet, I've got a very high resource pool of each resource, hitting about 25k mag, 25k stam, and a whopping 30k health. And in PvP, that goes up to 35k health, depending on which alliance you are, because you may have the Emperor bonus, or you may have just the Imperial City bonus. We are a Nord, and we are running Vampire Stage 3, and we're running the Ritual Mundus with a basic tri-stat food. You can get any sort of tri-stat food. You can even run the spring-loaded infusion drink if you wanted. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's tri-stat. I wouldn't recommend using the Sugar Skulls because they add health recovery, and as a vampire that is kind of pointless. Now on to my stats. As I mentioned before, we've got quite high mag, health and stam, but if you look at our recoveries, we've got 958 mag recovery, which is kind of modest, and we've got a 1100 stam recovery, which is fairly decent. Now you may also notice that my spell and weapon damage is quite low, and my weapon crits are quite low, so how am I outputting quite a bit of damage? Well, I will explain that very shortly, so please stay tuned. As you can see, we have 21k of each resistance and up to 3k critical resistance, and that is unbuffed. However, if we quickly switch and cast one ability, you will see that we go up to 26k of each resistance. Now this is quite nice, means quite tanky. We're not at resistance cap as before mentioned, however this is still a nice round number that we can use to be tanky in PvP scenarios. So, let's go on to the armour, because I know that's what you're all here for. Now we're running Cyrodiil's Crest. Now this is a maul, this is on the front bar for our damaging setup. We're running the Maul of Cyrodiil's Crest with a Crusher enchantment to reduce everybody's resistances. It's in Nirnhoned because we're not really using anything that will boost our damage up, so we want to get as much base weapon damage as we can by putting Nirnhoned on. Cyrodiil's Crest, what it does is it adds 129 stamina recovery, fairly decent. It adds 2 lots of 1200 health on the 3rd and 4th piece. And here's why I use this. On the 5th piece, after successfully blocking, you heal for 9.5k health. This occurs every 4 seconds. So if you're permanently blocking, which is what this build can help you do, you're getting healed for about 5k in PvP, non-crit, every 4 seconds. Not a lot of people can hit 5k per ability. A couple of people can, a couple of people can't. So depending on whoever you're fighting, you could have infinite health sustain just from standing there and blocking. This is a very nice set to be using. Some mag DKs have been using it, I've noticed, in their back bars, but to be honest, I think this is more of a tanking set. Now on our back bar, we're having the Ice Staff of Cyrodiil's Crest. Now, why not Sword and Board, you say? Well, I don't know if anybody said that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did. I'm running an Ice Staff because it teams up with something else I'm going to show you very shortly. On the enchantment, we're running a Hardening enchantment that adds 3.2k point damage shield for 5 seconds. This is an enchantment and it's constantly up, so it's not something bad. And on the back bar, we've also got Defending, which increases our physical and spell resistance by 3.2k, meaning that when we are blocking loads, our resistances go from 26k to about 30k. This is brilliant, I do like this. I like defending on things because it just gives you that much more tankiness just from holding a weapon. And of course this is in Cyrodiil's Crest as well. Now for our second set, we're actually running Shacklebreaker. Now I thought, right, I want to make a hybrid build. So what do? I'm going to try and find a set that allows me to be a hybrid. And Shacklebreaker is one of those sets that allows you to be a hybrid. Not only does it add stam recovery and mag recovery, but it also adds weapon and spell damage and a whopping 2,000 of stam and mag just for having it on 5-piece. This is brilliant. I love this set. I use it for a lot of my PvP builds. If you haven't noticed, please go check them out now. If you just click on my name, you'll be able to see all the videos I've ever posted, and you can make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to subscribe to the channel, as I post this sort of content all the time. Now that's the end of me plugging the channel. On the helmet, we are running a maximum health enchantment with sturdy. This is all in Shacklebreaker on the body armor. Now, the reason I'm running an ice staff for my blocking, as you can see, I'm running the brand new Greymore Mythic Bloodlord's Embrace with a tri-stat enchantment on it, and it's in sturdy. Now, the reason I'm running this is because when you deal damage with a bash attack, it places a persistent, uncleansable blood curse on an enemy. You can only have one blood cursed enemy at a time, and dealing additional bash damage moves the curse. Blocking an attack from a blood cursed enemy restores 1.5k magicka to you. This occurs every 1 second. So not only do we have the 965 mag recovery we have already, but seeing as the mag recovery stat comes from a tick every 2 seconds, this means that we are essentially in the hidden stats getting an extra 3,000 magicka recovery just from having perma-block up and bashing an enemy. And using an ice staff means that you can block costing magicka, which also leads to the fact that we can have infinite blocking sustain just from holding up a bit of wood. It's brilliant, and I like this. And a second reason, it looks like Greymore style. I can't actually access the Greymore style on PTS right now unless I do hours and hours of grinding, which I'm not really wanting to do for a nice style. So this is a really nice mythic. I love it. It comes in sturdy, so that's already perfect. Putting a tri-stack glyph on means that you're just increasing your resource pools, and it's just one of the better ones, I think, to use for magicka sustain. Now on our one piece for our monster set, we're running Swarm Mother. I would have run Doma House. There's not really much difference except for the fact that I accidentally deleted the box that Doma House comes in. So on account of me being an idiot, I decided to run Swarm Mother. There's not really much difference. You're only running one piece. Put it in sturdy, put it in maximum health. All the pieces we're running, by the way, are in heavy, as we want to drive up our stats. We don't really need one medium, one light to give up our Undaunted, because that's an extra 4% resources. I'd prefer to be tanky personally. However, if you wish, you can run a light bit of Swarm Mothers and a medium Shacklebreaker helmet. It doesn't really make much difference. It just makes you a little bit less tanky. Next up, we're running a Shacklebreaker Girdle in maximum magicka and an impen. This is just to drive up our critical resistance amount, and we can't really say no to that because that means we're taking less damage from the enemy's critical hit attacks. We're also running Shacklebreaker Gauntlets in maximum stamina and in impen again. Shacklebreaker Greaves in a tri-stat glyph with impen. And Shacklebreaker Sabatons with max mag sturdy to reduce the cost of our block. Now for our jewellery, we are actually running 3 pieces of Cyrodiil's Crest. On the necklace we are running reduce the cost of block by 203 and Triune. If you don't have Triune or you can't transmute it, I do recommend running Infused and put on all of them to be reduced cost of block, or even Infused weapon damage. It's completely up to you, or you can just go flat out and do 1 max mag, 1 max health, 1 max stam. On the second piece we're running Triune again, but with weapon damage glyph. And on the third ring we're running the brand new tri-stat recovery glyph in Infused. Now it's important that you have it infused, as the multi-effect enchantment without infused is about 75 of each recovery. And that's not going to do anybody much good. So I went with the cautious approach to increase all of our recoveries and just ran infused. I do apologise for the sniffling. I do have a bit of a cold, but that is not going to affect me from uploading this content for you guys. Now let's move on to the skills. On our front bar, this is our two-handed bar. What we're running is Dizzying Swing. Now I'm sure you all know what Dizzying Swing is. You swing your sword about, you slap them. It's pretty simple, it's self-explanatory. You hit them, sets them off balance, and if you hit them again, it can stun them. Now next up we're also running Sub Assault. Now Sub Assault is the main burst for Warden characters. What you do is you cast this, you cast 2 other abilities, and by the time you've cast those 2, that has triggered, and you've done a lot of damage. That's 10k poison damage to enemies in front of you, and it reduces their physical resistance, making you deal more damage. Next up, we're running Executioner. Now, Executioner deals more damage to enemies with less than 50% health. This is our main finisher, so when you do a lot of damage, you finish them off with Executioner just so they can't get back up. This is your execute, as it says in the name, so it's really handy to use this when they're below 50% health. Next up, we have Rally. Now, Rally is our main source of major brutality on our front bar, and it also gives us stamina recovery, but the main reason I run this is because of the burst heal at the end of it, and it increases the amount you heal for the longer the duration of the ability has been up. So if it's been up for 10 seconds, you're getting an extra, I assume, 150% healing from this ability, making you heal from, as opposed to 3k, just 6.5k. Now on our fifth ability, we're running Bird of Prey. Now Bird of Prey, this is just an ability that we slot. It actually is an animal companion ability, which means we deal 2% more damage for having this slotted. And plus as well, because we're running Sub Assault and the ultimate, Wild Guardian, this means we're doing 6% more damage just from having these abilities slotted. This ability is very nice, it's cheap, you summon a pet, it takes taunt off you sometimes, and if you cast the ultimate, they hit for 10k, and it is technically an execute, dealing double damage to enemies below 25% health. So it's a nice ability to tie in with your attacks. If you get that ultimate, you cast that, mix that with an Executioner, you're hitting very, very hard from things that people can't even get back up from. Now, onto the back bar. Now, the back bar is our main tanking bar. We want to stay on this bar as long as possible when we're on the defensive. First up, we've got the stamina morph of the Soothing Spores. Now, I've got a stamina because we're not using much stamina on our back bar, so it's naturally regenerating as we block with Magicka. So it's a nice heal, very strong heal, and you heal for 15% more when people are near you, but you heal 15% more naturally because that's what it doesn't tell you. Now next up we have our resistance booster. Now I've chosen Ice Fortress because Ice Fortress actually not only gives you physical and spell resistance, but it also gives you minor protection when you cast it, reducing your damage taken by 8% for 24 seconds. This is brilliant and I love this ability. Next up we've got Shimmering Shield. Now I can't be the only one who's ever come up against a snipe stacker. I despise them. I do like playing them though, they're very fun. I'm a bit of a hypocrite that way. But no snipe stacker can kill you if you keep this up. If you know there's one around, you spam this ability, that means that you are not ever going to be done by a snipe stacker from behind. Unless they're hitting 49,000 damage, which they aren't, no one will be able to kill you. It even works for against Magicka characters. If you've got them shooting things at you, even Mag DKs, Mag Sorks, you pop this, they're not going to be doing much damage to you. Plus, each time that you absorb a projectile, you not only restore Magicka, but you also gain loads of ultimate. 3 ultimate every 1.5 seconds, that's a total of, if I'm not mistaken, 12 ultimate, just from absorbing a projectile. This means you can keep up your ultimate a lot more of the time, and you can deal more damage. Now, fourth, we have Leeching Vines. Now, Leeching Vines heal the ally in front of you for 1.5k each time they take damage. This ability can actually be self-casted on you, meaning that when you self-cast, you can apply minor life steal to enemies that damage you for 10 seconds, not only healing you for 1.5k, but also healing you for 726 when you damage that enemy. Now on our fifth, we're running Blue Betty. Now the Blue Betty not only gives you major brutality and sorcery, it also cleanses you for a negative effect every 5 seconds, and restores 4.9k Magicka over 25 seconds. This means we're getting even more mag sustain, not only from our Bloodlord's Embrace, but we're also getting it from this as well. It's insane, and I really do like this build. Now if we move on to champion points, I can show you where the magic happens. We're running 30 points into Warlord, 35 points into Tenacity, 50 into Arcanist, and 75 into Mooncalf. We're running 20 points into Tumbling, 60 points into Shadow Ward. Next up to the Apprentice, we're running 70 points in Blessed. Now I chose Blessed because we're doing a lot of healing to ourselves, so we want a lot of points into that. and we're not doing much damage, so hence why we've got 50 points into Master at Arms, and 50 points into Precise, Piercing, and Mighty. That takes you all the way up to 270 points. Next up on the Steed, we're running Ironclad. We've got 60 points in that. We're running Resistant with 50 points, 40 points into Thick-Skinned, and 60 points into Hardy and Elemental Defender. And that is it. I do hope you've all enjoyed the video. At the end of this video, I'm actually going to play a clip of me taking on a world boss with this build. I took it out solo. I know it's not the most impressive feat, but it gives you an idea of what strength the burst heal could be. It's quite a long clip, so feel free to check out if you want to. It's just me running around, not dying, surviving against a good 10-15 enemies at once, showing you how much damage you can take with this build and how much damage you can resist and heal up from. So yeah, that is the video, guys. I'm just going to quickly put up the character sheet again so you can see what's going on with this build. And again, thank you all very much for tuning in. I've been looking at the progress this channel's been making and I am amazed. Thank you all so much for the support. If you put a comment down below, tell me what build you want to see in the next video. I will get straight to work on that and release it next Tuesday. Sorry for the late one today, I've had things going on. However, the build is out. Let's see how many people want to use it. And let's see how many people get destroyed by it. Yes, I'm already looking forward to the next video. So again, thank you very much, guys. Please drop a like and subscribe if you're liking the content and show your support. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.